Now that it's early 2025, February, mid-February-ish at this point, I figured I would make a very, very, very way too early, probably gonna age poorly 2026 midterm take. Now, this isn't gonna be a prediction. I just kind of want to give a rundown on where things stand. Of course, the election really took it out of a lot of people, so that's definitely not going to be in the forefront of people's minds at the moment. But eventually, it's going to become a thing that we start getting into as time goes on, and we have 2 years to prepare. And I wanted to kind of give my thoughts because I think this is going to be probably a very anticlimactic midterm if things go the traditional conventional way, in that the maps are, what you see on the map kind of tells you the story. Now, to be clear, the 2022 midterms were kind of a surprise. A red wave was expected, not by me, of course, but by a lot of people because Biden was unpopular and the vibes were more friendly to Republicans. But it turned out that that wasn't the case. Republicans really didn't have much of a message outside of inflation, Biden, gas prices, and also Roe v. Wade ended up getting overturned in the summer, so that kind of charged up Democrat momentum that wouldn't have been there otherwise. But they still did flip the House. However, the Senate stayed blue. And in fact, they gained a seat. So, what is there to expect in 2026? So, first off, it will come down to Donald Trump in a lot of ways. And as it stands, his approval rating is kind of stuck at 49%. Pretty impressive. I did not expect that this far in, and this far in just being a few weeks, that Trump would still even be in net positive approval. But hey, um, you know, credit to him. He's managed to not cause people to lose a lot of favorability in him in a short amount of time. We'll see how much that holds up. But as it stands right now, his approval rating is staying in a territory where it's in a good position for a party trying to defend in a midterm. Now, if it falls down to like low 40s, high 30s, then Democrats are definitely going to have a good midterm year. But I'm going to assume that because it's Trump and we have his first presidency and we know the polarization that comes with him, 35 to 45 is what we can probably expect. So it will definitely, well, I shouldn't say definitely, it will likely be in that ballpark by the time midterm day in 2026 comes around. November 2026, still far away. So, if that's the case, we have to look at the maps. Now, as it stands, and this is no matter what happens, to be honest, outside of something really extraordinary, which could happen, it looks like the House is going to narrowly flip back the Democrats, and the Senate will be held by Republicans. Now, first, the Senate map is worth taking a look at. There's not that many pickup opportunities for Democrats outside of North Carolina and maybe another state, but honestly, I mean, Ohio could be out there, but I doubt it. I think Ohio is just a red state now. So, and even then, Democrats would literally have to win 4 seats. Their best pickup opportunity outcome is 3 seats, which would be North Carolina, Georgia, and of course Ohio. And Ohio's really hard to see happening. North Carolina, I think it's a 50-50. It depends. Roy Cooper is probably going to run for Senate, maybe, maybe not. And if he does, he'll likely be a favorite, but it's North Carolina, which has always narrowly gone Republican, so hold your breath on that. And of course, there's Georgia. Georgia is the state where John Ossoff is senator, but the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, looks like he is getting ready to launch a Senate bid there. And he is incredibly popular in Georgia. So I think that if he runs, he's got like an 80% chance of winning. There's still a 20% percent chance for him to lose. That could happen. It depends how bad of a year it is for Republicans. Again, Donald Trump's approval rating, we're going to have to watch that for a while. But as it stands, if Brian Kemp runs, John Ossoff might be unseated. It looks like that's the direction that we're headed in. Now, outside of pickup opportunities, and again, I would say the Senate is looking favorable for Republicans, but outside of pickup opportunities, there is another state, Michigan, where uh Pete Buttigieg looks like he is going to try to make a run at it. And Pete Buttigieg is I don't know how well he's going to do in Michigan, to be honest. He ran for president in 2020 and it didn't really go well. He dropped out. But he's very he's been booed off of flights before, you know. He's not the most charismatic person out there. That's not to say that he wouldn't manage to run a decent campaign, and also Michigan still is a more Dem friendly environment. But if there's anyone who could snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in this race, it definitely would be Pete Buttigieg. And um, just because it would be a perhaps favorable environment to Democrats does not automatically mean that Pete Buttigieg is going to lock this one in. So, in my opinion, I would say Michigan is a lean D, but again, even that one, if there is one pickup opportunity for Republicans next year, it's definitely Michigan, and we'll see how he does. I think it's more likely than not he wins, but if he loses and no other pickups go to Republicans, that means they walk out with a 54 Senate majority instead of 53, which means Donald Trump, if in his last 2 years needs to appoint another Supreme Court justice, he's not going to face much of an issue, and he likely wasn't going to anyways. But he really wouldn't have an issue if he had a 54 seat majority. As for the House, it's a little interesting. The House is, in my opinion, where Democrats will probably do best in. It's just a given that voters are more going to be Democrats because the party out of power is the one most energized. They lost, so they don't really appreciate that they're out. So they're going to show up more. And I would say that pickup opportunities are going to look very nice for Democrats in House seats. I think in swing districts, that'll definitely be the case. And also in the Trump era, Republicans in swing districts have not done really good. So I would not be surprised if Democrats even added 10 more seats. But generally speaking, I do not expect that the House is going to look that much different for Democrats than it did for Republicans in 2022, which is their ceiling would probably be like 225 seats. And so by default, I think they're going to get the House. I think it's very, very hard to see them not getting the House, but again, we still have 2 years to see. We still have a lot of time to see how Donald Trump's approval rating goes, how the country's feeling come next November. But as it stands, kind of a boring outcome. It's looking like Republicans will hold the Senate, Democrats barely get back the House, and really nothing much changes in Congress. A lot different than it is right now, right? So yeah, that's my take on it. We'll see how it goes. Have a good day, everyone.